Well, hello everybody. This is Jen Bird again with the YMCA and the NDPP program. Again, we have Jen and Ashley with us. We're all going to be talking today about eating well to prevent type 2 diabetes, just kind of rehashing some of the stuff that that was talked about earlier on in the program, since we're on a little bit of a holding pattern right now, just helping to refresh some of that to keep the motivation and enthusiasm going for this progress. So last week we talked about tracking our activity and setting some of those goals for the activity so that when we track it makes it a little bit easier. I know a couple people posted about some of the things that they were doing. That's great. We hope that you'll engage with us again and share with us what's going well, what challenges you're having, what are your successes, any of that kind of stuff. We'd love to see your comments as well. So I wanted to really quickly just check in with Jen and Ashley too. I know, Jen, for example, you did post about a goal with your activity last week. First, how did the goal go, and were you able to track it, and what worked, what didn't?
Yeah, I would say I was active for 6 days. I didn't actually do maybe like my workouts for 6 days, I'll be honest. I probably did 4 good days of workouts, and then we've been going for walks every single day, and on Sunday, I was out in my yard for like 3 hours. All my days are getting mixed up here. So I've been active every single day. I maybe didn't reach my goal of doing like 6 workouts of my own, but I was still active, so that was good. Writing it down helped me to stay accountable, even though I hit snooze a couple times on the weekend just to not get up and have to do it. So I think I was a little, it's my accountability issue. No one's there like telling me like I have to do this. So I would say 70% okay, but still active all days this week too, with walks and yard work and cleaning and stuff like that. We all know that stuff is a lot of work in itself. So I had my phone in my pocket almost all day yesterday, but at least when I was outside working in the yard for sure for 3 hours, and I had like 8,000 steps. So just moving around my very small little yard back and forth for that time, it was good.
How was it to like put your goal out there for everybody? And then, did that help you on some of those mornings where you're like,
yeah, I think like putting it out there, like, you have that now accountability. I have to come back to this with my tail between my legs a little bit and be like, yeah, I didn't quite complete it all. But I think in the back of your head, it's good just to get it out there, and then almost like that little your own walk of shame to say like I didn't quite get it done, but I was still active, so look at the positive points, and then just like go into the next week of it's a new week, so start over and set your goal and do it again.
Yep. Well, and 4 out of 6 is really pretty good, and like in the fact that you said like you're still active, it wasn't like you just didn't do anything. So yeah. And that's what's great about goals, is that we can be flexible, which is one of the pieces that we say when you're setting a goal, that they should be flexible, and that, okay, so you didn't do your workout per se, but you did do activity, yeah. And that's okay. And giving ourselves that, allowing ourselves to have that flexibility is key, because if we do all or nothing, that's where we find ourselves getting in trouble. So yeah, awesome. Ashley, how did things go for you in terms of like what you had set out for your week? I know that you said that you kind of set little things and try to make a plan for what you're going to do within the week.
Yeah. It went pretty well up until yesterday. I didn't really do much, but I was hoping to go out for a walk and just ended up like cleaning the windows, and we went to pick up some baby stuff and church and all that, and just kind of didn't really get outside yesterday. It was kind of windy too, so that was my cop out, was it was too windy to go for a walk, which is not true, because I went for a walk, I think it was like last Tuesday or something. It was like hailing and like super windy. I had my winter coat on, and so it wasn't really much of an excuse. I was outside in sandals cleaning the windows. So
yeah. Well, again, you're still being, you're still out moving and being active and doing things, and sometimes things don't look exactly how we think they're going to, but you're still, and sometimes we just don't do it. Like I had planned to do something yesterday and I didn't do it, mostly because I ended up sitting with my kids trying to get caught up on homework. And then later I was just frustrated and I probably should have done something and I didn't. So, but today, new day, started out, got up, worked out. So it's all good. We can adjust and shift as needed. So today, like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about, the other piece of this program, which, we talked with the activity, the 150 minutes per week, but we also have obviously the healthy eating piece of it. And those two things together really kind of set us up for success in the program. And so today we want to talk about or kind of recap, I guess I would say, how do we eat healthy and how do we build our plates? What does that all entail? What should we be paying attention to, those types of things. And I know for myself, like being at home and not being on my regular routine, this has been more challenging for me in terms of like making some of those choices because I get bored and I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm going to go look and see what's in the fridge or in the cupboard. Or maybe I get stressed and I'm a stress eater. And so I have to try to recognize when that's happening, or it's just there. I can grab it anytime I walk by. So those are some of the challenges that I don't know. Are you guys facing any of those same challenges with eating healthy during this time?
Yeah, I would say, like I still count my calories and stuff. And that kind of helps me kind of stay on track. But I wouldn't say I always eat healthy, but if I count the calories and I know that I had a snack that was like 500 calories, I mean, I still put it down and helps keep me accountable throughout the day. But if you don't want to go to the grocery store, twice a week, it's kind of hard to get all your fresh produce and things too. And just knowing how the vibe is at the grocery store, I try to like limit that as much as I can because I don't really want to go there. But I think I've been okay, but I do get like the boredom side of things where you want to go get a snack or you feel like you're, eating more throughout the day. But I find if you're very active, like yesterday, I wasn't even hungry. I was busy just doing what I wanted to do. And I ate even less yesterday than I have most of the week. So I think if you're busy, then you kind of avoid those things. But I wouldn't really say like my fruits and veggies are at the top of my list right now either. Like, I mean, I would like to. When I first go to the grocery store, I get all that stuff and within a couple days it's gone. And then you're without it for a couple days before you go back. So
yeah,
it's been a little struggle.
Yeah. Ashley, how's the healthy eating going for you?
It's better. I think the first like week or two was probably a little more difficult for me, just kind of noticing like the new patterns and new routines and kind of what I was reaching for and looking for. Because I found myself usually eating a lot of extra snacks at night. And so trying to figure out why that was. Am I actually hungry? Is it stress? Is it boredom? Is it, emotional, and kind of seeing like where that led to and making better habits out of that. Because I think like for me, I do enjoy cooking and baking and things, and this has been a time to like try new things, and that's been a good thing. And most of our meals are pretty healthy, but it's for me usually those like either later or just like snacks in general, trying to keep those in check.
Yeah. And I think you guys both bring up a good point too, that like, especially during this time, it's we might have had it figured out during our regular routine and like know what we normally grab and go about that, but like now we just have to be a little bit more mindful, and we might have to plan a little bit differently because of perhaps not wanting to go to the grocery store as often, or even what's available in the grocery store, because of various things, whether it's seasonal or whether it's just a lot of people shopping at this point in time. So I'm glad to hear that people are finding that new routine and that we might have to make some of those shifts. But just also, I guess, reiterating today what those things are, I think can help too when we are being mindful about that. So we'll spend a little bit of time talking about that. So with the food that we're trying to build our healthy eating patterns with, we want to be thinking about taking in foods that are lower in calories and lower in fat. Obviously, we're trying to kind of balance that so we're not like way super high on our calories and fat. But we also want to include things that have, or include foods that have things in them, such as fiber and water, protein, and then minerals and vitamins. And so if we can find foods that fit both of those categories, that's a win-win for us for sure, because we can help make sure that we're getting the things that we need to feel full and to feel energized, but also not adding on a whole bunch of excess calories and fat that we don't really need to help sustain us. So what are some of your, I guess, you're talking about like those go-to snacks or those go-to things. What are some of each of your go-to things for snacks? Let's start there.
Brown bananas for Jen.
Yes, I love brown bananas. Oh, bananas. No, I shouldn't say I love them. It just happens to be that they look like that when I bring them to the Y. So these girls make fun of me when I was eating all these bananas, but I throw them in my bag so they're bruised up, whatever. I guess bananas are probably a main go-to for me. String cheese. Sometimes we have like meat sticks and things like that, which I know like aren't necessarily sometimes the best, like certain, extra processed stuff like that. But for my side of my job, with having a little extra protein and something quick and easy for like my job really is beneficial. I would do like yogurt. I haven't done yogurt in a little while now, but yogurt and like sometimes protein bars and stuff, but you just have to be kind of, we're going to be a little contradictory here because I know I don't really follow the NDPP like guidelines. It's more like, to get me through my day for teaching 6 classes a day too. So, but I guess I try to reach more towards do more fruit than vegetables, which is kind of a problem. It's a problem. But I have to say, like, I am buying more vegetables now because, for those of you that don't know, I have birds at home. So I have 5 birds upstairs. And they're starting to eat, like, broccoli. So now I'm going to have to, and celery. So now I'm going to have to buy more vegetables for them. So
for your birds. So you're going to have to eat the rest.
I'll have it in the house, so I'll probably snack on it, too, because they can't eat all of it. So that's going to be
true.
See, there you go. You can plan ahead and you can buy extra and they won't eat it. So you're like, oh, I guess I got to eat that broccoli.
Yes, exactly. I have to steam my broccoli now. Yeah.
So I have to tell you a quick funny story about the bananas because I have a thing with my colleague Tammy, who's also one of the NDPP coaches, and she loves like ripe bananas and I cannot stand ripe bananas. And so we swap bananas at work. Like when mine get too brown, I give them to her and she'll bring in green ones for me. So anyway, I don't know for what it's worth about bananas. But anyway, Ashley, how about you? What are some of your go-tos?
Fruit's a pretty big one for me. I really enjoy most all fruits. So that's usually a snack that I have like in the morning between breakfast and lunch. And like Jen said, sometimes at work it's like you gotta go with like a protein bar or something quick that's not necessarily the greatest. I think just remembering to look, and see what the ingredients are. I don't necessarily look in terms of like the macronutrients and stuff as much, but just trying to make sure that it's not full of a bunch of processed stuff and sugar and things like that. But I don't really do veggies for snacks either. I usually have them in all of my like regular meals. They're just like, I don't know, not that appetizing as a snack. I do smoothies quite a bit. In the winter, it's harder just because they're cold. But adding like fruits and veggies and maybe oats or peanut butter or whatnot. I love peanut butter. We've talked about that on a lot of our other wellness talks. Comes up quite a bit. So I will do like peanut butter with like a banana or with an apple or with celery or something for a snack. I really like pumpkin seeds. I don't know, they have them at Aldi. It's kind of a weird thing, but they're good and they don't have a ton of fat compared to some of the other nuts too, which is kind of nice. I do popcorn at night quite a bit. I usually just pop it on the stove in a little bit of oil, so it has some fat in it, but not terrible. Yeah, I don't know. I don't eat meat or dairy, so I cut out quite a few categories.
Well, which is a good point though too, because you can have different eating patterns like vegan or vegetarian, and you can still eat healthy. You just have to find other substitutions for some of those areas. And I'm sure if you're not having those, you're probably pretty well versed in what those would be. So it's not you don't have to have it. You can still get those nutrients in other ways. So
Right.
You both were talking a little bit about some of your things that you have as like go-tos when you're picking out like your, Jen, you mentioned string cheese and you mentioned like protein bars and stuff like that. What are some of the things that you pay attention to when you pick them out, or do you just grab, or do you kind of say, oh, I want this one because of these specific things?
Due to the fact that I count calories more than anything else, I want something that I would like a light string cheese that might be like 70 or 50 calories opposed to like 100 or like 90 to 110 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of look for that because I'm a grazer. I guess if I know my habits, I like to. She laughed. She's like, no, you don't. You don't eat it all at work. On a day when I'm not at work and I'm not teaching, like I like to eat quite a bit, like throughout the day, smaller meals. I'm not a really big person to like eat like 3 main meals. I want to munch kind of a little bit. So when I can have more snacks like that more frequently, I seem to do better. So I'm usually looking for like the calories for protein bars. For me, I know you mentioned like you want to get things with fiber in them, but certain protein bars, like if it has way too much fiber, like, I mean, that just really, we're all like, yeah, you know exactly where that's going. And so like when we teach a class, and like I've mentioned this in our other wellness talks, and I hate to relate it back to that, but that's just what we do. When we're wearing like spandex all day and you got to really like, if your stomach's upset or you're not feeling good, it's like not the best situation to be in at all. And I think when you're normally working too, you don't want to feel gross with your stomach if you feel like bloated or it just didn't sit well, that's like the last feeling you want. So I really look for more lower fiber and stuff like that, less sugars. I'm not really a huge protein. I say I buy them every once in a while, but it's not really something I always have in the house just because they're so easy to grab. And I've been known to eat like 4 of them in a day and then talk about a stomach ache. So yeah, so I try not to like, have those too much, but yeah, I try to find things that are lower calories, I suppose, just because that's, kind of what I'm looking for to count. And obviously I want to find things that are higher in protein too. If I'm looking to have some more protein snacks, like with yogurt, I would reach towards a Greek yogurt over a regular yogurt for a little bit more protein. So
yeah. Awesome. Ashley, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I think just like going back to the protein bars, like for me, like I kind of said, like ingredients is probably like the main thing I look at when it comes to those, because you can see all the fancy packaging, you can see all whatever they're promoting on the front of the box, but really like you don't. And even sometimes looking at, the nutrients, like, oh, well, it only has that much fat, or oh, it has this much protein, and you maybe skip over one of the other things, and it's like, oh, well, it has like 20 grams of added sugar from high fructose corn syrup, but you didn't look at the ingredients. So, just like little things like that, that I think, especially in those more packaged, ready to go foods, that kind of got to pay attention to not only the nutrients, but, what they're actually making it out of to have lower fat or to have lower sugar.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely, I think, true in a lot of, some of those foods that say, oh, low calorie, low fat, they add it in other ways through sugars and things like that, or they add other things in to make them still taste good. And so it is a cautionary tale to be aware of some of those things when we're grabbing those. And I know you all talked about like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have this. And I don't know, I guess one of my things with, even when I do talk with people in this program, like, I think you should have some of those things that you want, and just be planful about it. If you really want to have, a bar that's maybe a little bit higher in something, or you really like a particular thing, I think have it. But just make sure that it's part of your day. Because I think the minute that we start saying, no, I can't have any of this and I can't have any of this, then we don't follow through. And so I like to, I guess, caution people when they go, oh, I maybe really shouldn't have this. I say have it, just make sure that you're planning it in. So
I don't restrict so much, because then you're just going to binge.
What was that?
Cookie dough yesterday, and it was like 800 calories, but I logged it and I still was under my calorie count.
Yeah.
So, but I had to log it, but I wanted to eat it too. So,
Yep. Well, and we're going to get to that, like one of the things that will be coming up is like the idea of tracking, like we talked about keeping active. And then once you start tracking it, this kind of builds on itself. And I know people have, been part of this, but that's part of it too, is that yes, so that we don't get out of control on those things that we want to be able to have, we have to hold ourselves accountable still. So it is a balance of like, yes, allow yourself to have them, but then be accountable to it and say, you know what, I ate this cookie dough. And that's okay. I'm still either I'm where I wanted to be and I'm still under, or I maybe need to cut back next time. So I've definitely had those days before. So it's all part of what we're going to continue to talk about too. And it's a journey. It's not a destination. It's something that we have to kind of, I know I have to like learn and reteach myself constantly, because just when I think I have it, then I get a little bit lazy about stuff and I have to go back to what I know. So so we were talking about snacking, but I want to also talk about like when we're building our plates for the traditional kind of meal type setting. The program talks about building a healthy plate and then give some guidelines in terms of what would be helpful. And just to reiterate some of those things, so if we're had our plate in front of us, we'd want to do about half of our plate with non-starchy vegetables. So it'd be things like lettuce, peppers, things that don't have a lot of that starch in them. And then we'd have about a fourth of our plate that has some of the grains and the starchy foods. So that's where you might have like the oatmeal or the potatoes or the rice or, things like that. And then the other quarter of our plate is going to be protein, and it's usually lean protein. So chicken, fish, other lean proteins are things that are kind of cut down. And then some kind of, if you choose dairy, some kind of low-fat dairy, like about a cup of it. So it could be milk or cottage cheese or yogurt or, any number of different things. And then also a serving of fruit. And that could be, it's about a half a cup, or if you need an easy measuring, about the size of the palm, something that you can hold in the palm of your hand. So maybe a medium apple or something like that. And so if we have all those different things, we have, half of our plate that's going to be kind of filling us up with the things that are usually going to be higher in water and like the nutrients and things like that, or if maybe fiber, if we have the vegetables in there that have it. We're still going to allow ourselves some of those carbs that we do need in our diet. And then we're going to also have a good portion of protein to kind of balance it out. And then the other piece that they talk about with the program is just keeping track of the things that we're putting into our bodies in terms of beverages. So I know that's a really easy place to lose calories to, water, yes. Lose calories to, whether it's putting, extra creamer in our coffee, or, buying a beverage that has a bunch of sugar in it, like a soda or something like that. And so being really cautious of that, because it can be really easy to like drink something and go, oh my gosh, I just drank 500 calories worth of soda without even really thinking about it, and I haven't eaten anything, and now what am I going to do for the rest of the day, kind of thing. So as you think about the things that you build your plates with, and I know you eat a little bit differently, Jen, you kind of talked about like eating smaller portions throughout the day or whatever, but if either of you, when you do sit down, what are some of your go-to foods for like building a meal? Like what are some of your favorite meats or your favorite proteins? Because I know, Ashley, you don't eat meat. No, you said dairy and last week. Okay. So like what are some of the things that you use, that you would typically see in your plate as you're building a plate?
You can hop right in, Ashley, if you want.
So I do eat fish and eggs. So fish, we don't have it like super often, usually like once a week, just because it's more on the expensive side of things. It's usually salmon that we do get. And then eggs, I usually have like a few times a week for breakfast. Otherwise, we do a lot of different kinds of beans, black beans, kidney beans, garbanzo beans or chickpeas are probably one of our favorites, just because you can do a lot with them, whether it's like a salad or a warm dish. And lentils are pretty big too. They're pretty high in protein. And then just making sure with that too, since a lot of plant proteins are not complete proteins, that you're having them with some sort of grain or something too, like beans and rice go very well together in terms of kind of completing that protein profile. But yeah, that's pretty much most of our meals are based around one of those
Do
components.
you have any favorite, I know you mentioned like veggies are on your, and I know some of those are vegetables too, but like what, do you have any favorite, like, I love this veggie that I would like to include in things?
I really like sweet potatoes, kale, which I know is not necessarily everyone's favorite, but you have to, in my opinion, you have to cook it a certain way, because I do not like it when it's like all mushy and like steamed. Like not a fan. Um, and probably like broccoli and peppers, probably some of our favorites.
Would you be willing to share your, how you cook it on our page, since you have a
Sure.
specific way? That would be great, because I have not figured out how to make kale so that I like it.
Love it. And that's what I use. I've heard in the air fryer is good too, but I haven't tried that yet. But it makes it crispy, so I don't know, it's just different. The texture makes a huge difference.
Oh, great. Jen, how about you? What are some of your favorites?
Well, we're big like salad eaters probably. So like if we were gonna have a bigger meal, we would have just lettuce and chicken usually is kind of our go-to. So like I'll put chicken in the crock pot and shred it and just put that on the top. I like turkey too. We'll like get ground turkey and put it on salads and wraps and things like that. We don't really, we don't eat a lot of red meat. So turkey is kind of the go-to. Chicken is a go-to. Justin's not a huge fan of seafood, so I don't really have fish too much, but we eat tuna fish, so like tuna sandwiches and things like that. Nothing like ultra fancy. Like I see Ashley's lunches that she brings to work and it's like crazy, and I'm just like, I had a salad and shredded chicken, like, but it's still good. It's just light, and when I'm with my schedule now, it's way different. But when I was coming home from work, it needed to be quick. And so like if the chicken was done fast and the lettuce was just ready to go, we could just easily build a dinner in like 10-15 minutes instead of, really planning. Because for those of you that don't know, my schedule started at like 5:30 in the morning. So I definitely wasn't putting anything in the crock pot at that time. She's more motivated than I am. Ashley would do stuff like that, but not me. So, we do like turkey burgers every once in a while. I don't do a ton of like carb stuff. So we don't really do a lot of pasta. We don't really do a lot of like rice or things like that. We do a little bit, but not nearly as much. I would say like 70% of our meals are probably like salads and chicken, and that's about it. So I try to get that relationship with food I know you have to really enjoy what you're eating, but to remember that it's just to like give you nutrients to keep your body functioning, and you don't have to like, live to eat. You have to eat to live. So I used to be in that zone of like, I just wanted to eat all this really good stuff. And it was like, you got done with one meal and you're already thinking about the next one and the next one and what you could have for a snack. So now it's like, you just eat because it's good and it's healthy, and that's what serves your body at the time. So except for cookie dough, I do plan and crave that.
You got to have those things though.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, that sounds, similar to our family, just to share, we do a lot of chicken. I get teased a lot by my kids, like, chicken again. So we do, either chicken or eggs, and I'm like, they're like, it's still chicken. I'm like, okay, whatever. And we do a lot of fish. Probably, I would say, at least once a week. And then I eat a lot of tuna as well. And I'll eat it on like peppers instead of bread. And I do a lot of yogurt. So yogurt is kind of like my go-to to help me with my sweet tooth, because I'll add berries to it. So there's a lot of different ways that you can build stuff in. And I also, oddly enough, I love fruit as a snack too, but I found that I was just going only to fruit. And so I started grabbing carrots, and they've kind of helped me because carrots are like crunchy. Mm-hmm. And so they're carrots and snap pea pods are like two of my favorite go-to kind of snacky foods. instead of some of the other things that I also really enjoy, but I don't want to fill up my plate with daily. So, how about really quickly? We're kind of getting down to the end of our time, but what are some of your go-to beverages? Because I know we talked about beverages, and then also like what's a treat beverage for you? Like if you're like, I like to have this, but I try to limit this kind of beverage because it might have a little bit more of some of those things that we're trying to avoid in it.
Jen wants to go first.
I mostly drink water. I will say that. On kind of a rare occasion, like we do have soda and stuff in the house. I try not to have more than like one a day, and try to limit that even more. So, but water usually is my go-to. I know these girls are laughing at me right now, like what's off the screen right now. This is horrible. This is, yes, an energy drink. That is like my go-to. I get myself maybe a couple a week. When I was working, it was like one a day. But now home, it's a little bit less. That is my soda for the day. These are horrible for you. Please don't. I'm not advocating them at all. But on the upside, it's only 10 calories. So, I have to have a vice here and there, and it's cookie dough and this watermelon flavored venom, which is so, but mostly water. Like this is empty. See, this is, that's where I go to mostly is my water. So, and coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker in the morning, but I just limit myself to 2 cups and I'm done. So.
Nice. How about you, Ashley?
Yeah, water for the most part for me too.
Show your can. I saw your can earlier.
LaCroix, I'm getting to it. Oh. It has 0 calories.
Oh.
And there's no fake sugar in it. Although I do get concerned about what naturally essenced means. Who knows what natural flavors are? It's not really, it's very vague. But I used to drink coffee pretty regularly, and then I got pregnant and it made me really nauseous. So I don't have it as often anymore. Plus, I'm not supposed to have that much caffeine. But I don't know. I grew up just mostly like water, sometimes like orange juice or apple juice in the morning, and then milk, which I don't drink anymore. But my husband, on the other hand, his family always has pop or some kind of like lemonade or Arnold Palmer or something with like a massive amount of sugar in their house. And I refuse to buy pop. So that is why we have LaCroix or some kind of sparkling water. That's our compromise. Because I'm like, I don't want to spend the money on it, first of all. And second of all, that's terrible for you. So I'm not going to buy it. But I'll get you he needs like some kind of extra drink. So that's usually what we go to. And I'm a big fan of kombucha. Jen's got to hear a lot about that recently. And I've gotten Josh to like it too. He literally asks me every time I go to the store if I will get him one. So, but those you got to watch too, because they can have quite a bit of sugar in them depending on the brand. Most of them, it's like the ones that I usually get, I think it's 8 grams or less of sugar. But then you have ones that have like 20 plus grams. So you got to kind of be a little careful on those ones. And my special drink, if I could pick, would be probably some kind of iced macchiato from Starbucks that probably has way too much sugar in it from some kind of flavored syrup. But that's like the drink you get on your birthday or when you have 150 stars, because you don't want to pay for it. It's like $6.
Which, and again, you have to allow it, and because I'm gonna broach the subject really quickly in our last couple of seconds. So we have, you guys kind of talked about a lot of the same things that I'll drink water, or I might have some soda or coffee, but I also enjoy a beer every now and again, or some wine, and those are also things that can really sneak up on you, especially if you like IPAs like I do. And so I have to be really, obviously not that I'm drinking a whole bunch of them anyway, but even one of them has a lot more calories in it than even like a light beer or something like that. And so I have to be planning not only, for just general intake of alcohol, but also watching what I'm putting into my body in terms of like the calories and stuff with that going into it. So just being extra cautious about that, because those types of things that we drink and they go down easy can really add to our diet and without us really thinking about it. So keeping all of that in mind. So we, I think, are done for today because we're kind of wrapping up here. We would love, again, to hear from you on like what are your favorite meals or snacks? What are some things that you have go-tos? Leave them in the comments. Share your ideas. If you have recipes that you want to share, we'd love to see those as well. So don't be afraid to interact with us, ask questions, and share your successes and your challenges. So we will look forward to seeing you next week and hope to hear from you online in the meantime. So thanks, everybody.